Hi everyone, it's Cheryl here from ideasforcardmaking.net and I'm here today for Couture Creations. Now I'm just going to do a really quick video. I've done this gnome, I've coloured this gnome and this is using the new Couture Creations twin tip alcohol markers. I just thought I'd show you how to do the beard. Just because I always find the hair and the beard and stuff like that the hardest to do. Now I've done a lot of colouring classes over the years, so I've been colouring for, I don't know, 5 years or more, but I still find those things difficult, and the way I do it is fairly easy, and I just thought I'd go through what I actually do, just because there's probably other people like me out there. Okay, so don't think that the way I do it is the right way, because everyone has different methods and different ways of doing them. If you have a look at this is the packaging, and that's the Christmas presents Stampin' Colour outline stamps. So if you have a look at that, I'll try and get that as close as I can so you can see. That's actually got a lot of detail around here and on the edges. I haven't done that. I could do it, but I haven't done it. And as I said, everyone has a different way of doing it. So this is what I've done. My guy's pretty ordinary. Like it's just straightforward. I haven't done any of that other, that's easily achievable by just doing flicks out the side and there. I've done fairly light colours. I'll put these on the below the video or on the blog post. So I've used 155, the light skin colour, which I know sounds a bit strange, but I've used that as a base. And then I've used 545 ice grey. And then I've used 5305, which is Greek white. Now, if you wanted to do the same sort of thing as what's on here, I'm just looking at my colours. I haven't actually got room to pull it all up. These are a couple of colours. Probably I don't know, you could use either of those. I think the Alcoy Grey. Oh, hang on, I should look on the back and see what they've used on here. I don't know what that one is. AP405. I can't see that at a glance. It's in here somewhere because I've got the whole set. 405, 405. Oh, here we go. 405. So that's the black grey. So you could use that too. All right, but that's not what I'm using today. I'm just doing a very simple video, a very simple way of doing it. So I'll just do that and show you. Now, first of all, I want to tell you, you must use a proper blending paper for colouring with alcohol markers, because otherwise, when you go to colour, the lines that you've stamped out will smudge. It'll go everywhere, and it'll also mark on the tips of your markers. You'll have black or whatever colour on the tip of your markers. You've got to use the special inks, and this is the Couture Creations Stampin' Colour outline ink pad, and you won't have any trouble with that smudging at all, but you must use the blending card. And you'll see the blending card does go through to the back. If it doesn't go through, you haven't saturated enough, and I really like to saturate my card. Now, I probably do mine a bit different to what a lot of other people do. I'll just start. So what I do, I use the bullet end, and I just kind of do an outline. I'm just trying to decide where to start. Just do a line around the edges, just to try and keep it in. You can see I've just gone over a little bit, and I will fix that in a minute. I'll use the colourless blender. So I'm just kind of going around the edges and then just flicking. That's all I want to do. I just want to flick it just to give it a kind of a base colour. And that hasn't gone through a lot, but you can see it has actually gone through. Next, I'll take my next lightest colour. Sorry, that was the light skin colour, 155. So next I will take the Greek white, 5305. And I will go over that and I will flick. I'll just really flick. That's all I'm going to do, is just flick. And that's to make it look like hair. Now I'm going to do the same thing again, and I'm using the bullet end again, just because you don't want it to go over. It's just, this is a small space. So I'm just flicking, and I'll go up as well. You want some gaps in between. Let's bring that a bit closer so you can see. You can still see that colour base. When you see that, yep. So you can still see that base there. Not enough of that hasn't saturated because there's really not enough on there. So I'll go over that again. Don't have to saturate everything, but it makes it easier to blend if your cardstock has been saturated. So now I'll put that one away and I'll go to the darker one, which is 545, which is the ice grey. So I'm going to do the same thing again, bullet again, and I'm going to flick. I'm not worrying about where I've gone over the edges, because when I finish I can use the colourless blender and get rid of any bits that have gone over. If I was doing a full colour I probably would worry about it, but I'm not going to at this point. Now can you see it's starting to look a bit more like the hair? And you'll have some darker bits. You need to almost cover that base colour, but I want it to look like hair. I want it to have a hair-like look, a beard-like look. So that's better, but I'm going to go back over with it again, and I do tend to go over and over and over with some of mine. I know not everybody does this, but this is the way I work. I just keep going until I'm happy with the result. So each time you put more on, you're going to saturate your paper more, and it's going to make it easier to blend. Flicking, just flicking. It's starting to come through. Now I'm going to go back over with that dark colour again, the darker colour I should say. I flick. Now if you don't like those colours, if you'd rather something darker, then you can do that. I'm happy with that. I'm just going to get it a little bit closer to the edge because I can see quite a bit of that skin colour coming through, so I'm just covering that up at the edge there. And there's a little bit more there, and I'll just do some more random flicks. I think I'm happy with that now. So basically do the same thing. I'm not going to do the whole beard, but you'll just do the same thing for the rest of it. I'll just do maybe this side just a little bit, so I'll just go through again, just flicking. And if you're not sure where to colour, use this as a guide. That's what I do the first time I do any colouring. Just use that as a guide and it'll just show you where your colours are. So I'm not going to do this whole thing because as I said at the beginning, I want this to be, excuse me, I want this to be a short video. So I just wanted to give you a bit of a guide of how to do it for people who haven't done beards before or hair. It's the same technique for hair and beards. So that's your 155 light skin colour. Next we're going to 5305. Sorry, I couldn't see the colours properly in this light to see which was the lightest one. So 5305, Greek white. I'll do that one next. Just flicking up and down. Have the meat in the middle. It's a bit easier on the longer bits than what it is on the shorter bits. When you're doing hair, you've got more to play with. You kind of have them meeting in the middle, if that makes sense. You probably see more of it, of the hair-like look in this part because there's more of it. So now we'll go to the darker colour, which is 545 Ice Grey. Same thing again, flicking up and down. Just try and get to the edges so you haven't got too much of that pink showing. I'm going to use my lighter grey again to go over that. Excuse me. Right to the edge and flicking down and then flicking up. Just kind of meet in the middle, but they don't have to overlap or anything like that. And here I'm just trying to saturate to make sure that they blend well when I put that darker colour back on again in a minute. Trying to cover up a bit of that pink. I've just got that there as a base. You could actually use some different colours. You could use, just having a look, maybe 401, which is a warm grey. You could use that for a base if you didn't want to use the skin colour. It just depends on what you prefer. It's all about preferences. Right, so I think I can put my darker colour back on again. Get that little bit in there. Go back again. I think I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just getting to the edges to cover up that sort of gap that's there. I don't like that gap around the edges. I like that to be covered. So I'm pretty happy with that. But if you wanted to make it darker, I'll just see if I grab another colour. This is what I've done on mine. So they're the exact same colours on that one. Let me see what I can use. What's that one? It's a blue grey. Now I'll tell you what I do. I actually have a practice sheet. And you can see I've been practicing with different colours and blends and things on there. So this is actually the colour that I'm looking at, which might be alright, but what I normally would do is I'd have put the two colours together like that. Do it on the brush end, just to see whether I can get them to blend the way I want them to blend. And I think that's actually a bit dark. I'll put that lighter one over again. You see they are blending in, but I think it's a bit too dark for what I want. Let me see. Just bear with me while I find a colour that that one might be alright. I tend to check them together like that. Sorry if you can't see that. I tend to check them together and just look at the different shades there. So the one I've just pulled out is 431 Cold Grey. So I'm just going to try blending those two and just have a look. I just find having a practice sheet just makes such a difference, because then I'm not going to ruin all that colouring. I said that one's not bad. That's blended in there. You see how I'm saturating that? I really like to saturate the paper. So that one's not too bad. It's very hard with the hair and beards to make it really dark. So I'm just going to go over that again, just because it's now dried a bit. Oops, wrong end. I just want the bullet end. I'm just going to go over that again with my darker colour. Now this is, I can feel the difference because I've left that there for a few minutes. It's sort of, it has saturated, it's all gone in together. I want it saturated so it'll blend better. So that's why I've decided to go over it again. So now I'm going to put this darker one on and just see what that's like. I may or may not like it on there. I'll just put that on the edges to start with, and we'll just see, on the tips I mean, not the edges, sorry. I'll just see whether or not I like that, and I can put a bit down here. Maybe, yeah, I'll just leave it like that for now, and we'll get this other colour again, and I'll just blend that in a bit and just see. On the bigger areas, you can actually use your brush end, which is, you'll get more saturation with that. But you've got to be careful, particularly when you've got a small area like this, because it will go over. You know, like I couldn't use the brush on that little part there because it would just go over the edge because it's too wide. But there are some areas that you can use it, like I used the brush across here when I was doing it and up on the ball and in some of these areas. Okay, so let's just see how this is going. Finish this off. Yeah, I like that. I actually like that. Now, if you're not happy with the way it's blended, you get your lighter one again and just go over it again. This is not the darker one I used before. This is the lightest of the greys, and just go over it again. But you can see the distinction between the colours, and that's really what you're wanting to look for, is to get that distinction. I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I'll be working on that. There's still quite a bit of work to do it, because I've still got all the rest of the bit, but I'm happy with that. Now, if you haven't used a colourless blender before, just move these out of the way. I'll just show you. I tend to use the bullet end again. Now, see, I've got a little bit of the ink there, and I'll just go over in a bit of a circle, because that's not a problem there. But for this one here, I kind of push it in, and it basically pushes it back into where you've worked. Can you see how that's already gone? You can see that wet spot, but that will dry. That will definitely dry. Now, if it leaves a bit of a mark, which sometimes it does, if you've gone too far in, it'll leave a bit of a mark. And in that case, I'll just get one of my lighter colours and I'll just go over it, and you'll never know. You cannot see that that's been there. There's another one up here I've gone over. Oops, wrong one. I just made it worse. Okay. So you just go over it. And sometimes if you've got a lot like I've just done, you might have to do that and then leave it to dry and then go over it again. But that's just about gone already. All right, that's it. that's all I wanted to show you. I hope this has been helpful. As I said, I'm not an expert colorist. I do colouring because I like doing it. I find it very relaxing, and I just thought it might be a bit helpful. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.